Hey everybody, this is the Sliders Review, and it's Women's History Month, and I'm here today to talk to you about Bad Girls, the 1994 female Western movie. Man, this movie came out a long time ago. I remember back in the day when I was a kid and I saw the commercial, the trailer for this movie. I'm all like, cool, a female Western. I'm like, well, hold up. I didn't know there were female cowgirls and everything back in that day. Because the only time I ever seen a Western, there was nothing but like cowboys and stuff. And so I never like even thought to imagine there could be like, cowgirls and girls using guns and wearing pants and stuff like that. It was extremely rare back in the old Wild West days for a woman to do something like that, because they had to wear dresses, they weren't allowed to use guns. But a lot of them, knew how to, and some of them was even criminals and stuff. And so I remember just seeing this movie and being all like, man, this is so cool. Like, I want to watch it. And I had no idea who Drew Barrymore was at that time, but she was just like so hot when I like saw her in the trailer. I just wanted to like watch it. But my family wasn't big into watching movies, so I never got to watch it when it came out. I did, however, many years on television, and I rewatched it back in January of this year when it was on Tubi and stuff. And I never knew all the behind the scenes drama that happened with production, like the firing of the female director replaced by that of a male director and stuff. Oh, old school Hollywood, boy, ain't nothing changed. And so this movie, there's a lot of drama to unpack. It did not do well at the box office. It came out on Earth Day. And so, like, it had a budget of 20 million, but only made about 15 million in its first like week and everything. And it just didn't do particularly well with critics and everything. It has a low score on like, Rotten Tomatoes by the critics, but it has a high score with the audience and everything. A lot of people really love this movie and really enjoy it, but critics just like tore it apart many years ago. It was the girls doing what the guys normally do in action movies, and they just wasn't having that. Also, in terms of script, there had to be tons of rewrites, and the ending had to be changed. And there are things in the movie I wish could have been stronger. I wish they could have explained more, and I wish there was better character development with some people and stuff. And so it has some problems here and there. It ain't no perfect movie, but it's not a bad movie. It's a very enjoyable movie, and it's really cool to see women back in the 90s, kicking butt and everything and taking charge and being independent. Because when it comes to television, female empowerment has always been on television ever since the 1960s and stuff. And it normally has dominated on television even into like the 90s and 2000s. But in terms of movies, not so much and everything. Normally, for a female movie to succeed, it has to be a very female-centric movie, like feminist type movie, and nothing action-packed. And originally, this was supposed to be a very feminist type movie and stuff. But once the studio came in and started doing studio meddling, they turned it into a sexier action-packed movie and stuff. And the original script is actually on eBay to buy. And one of the actresses says she actually enjoyed the original script a heck of a lot more than like the newer script. But it just didn't translate well and everything. And when it comes to that, a female empowerment nowadays on television, it used to dominate on television. Now, since television went to streaming, not so much no more. Now, a lot of female-led shows get canceled after one or two seasons, mostly after just one. A lot of this has to do with two main reasons. One, some of these shows literally just aren't like made very well. They're not written well, directed well, acted well. And then you have the other side, the toxic male fandom that has been taking over the internet and everything. Well, they just will not allow anything diverse to succeed, and they tried their best to like make sure it fails and gets ruined and stuff. So, on to the drama. So, originally, this was just supposed to be an independent movie with a very low budget. And it wasn't even supposed to have like this big started cast, right? And so the movie was originally directed by that Tamar Davis. And so, like, her original vision, because she brought on writers that of her friend Yolanda Turner, also known as Yolanda Finch, and another person, something Johnston, Becky Johnston. And so originally, those two wrote the scripts and then she was supposed to direct. And originally, the movie was supposed to be about like more of a feminist, female centric type movie, sexual violence and the political landscape of like how it was in the West with like how women were treated and stuff, right? And so then two producers came on board along with that what's that company, Fox Studios and stuff. And I can't think, let's see, what was the producer's name? I can't think of them right now. I think one was Andre Morgan, and I think Alberta, like rugby or something like that. I can't remember. It was something like that. And so with the studio backing them, they gave them a bigger budget and they brought on bigger stars. And so like at the beginning of like filming, right? Like Tamar, no, I can't even say her name right now. Tamar was like given a 75-page rewrite from like the studio because they just didn't like what they saw. But then the craziest thing happened. 9 days into production and filming the movie, the studio just straight up fired Tamar and everything. I'm just kind of like, holy crap, dude. So now she's gone on to do other stuff. She's directed music videos, television shows, other movies that, what was that movie with Britney Spears, Crossroads or something like that? So she's gone on to do some good stuff. And one of her and the stars still keep in touch online. And so this kind of like, had things in panic. Now, originally in those first 9 days, the studio didn't even really care. They gave the stars only 1 day of gun training and horseback riding and stuff like that. How the heck were they supposed to learn all this gunslinging and stuff and doing their stunts in just 1 day? See, back in the early 90s, they straight up just didn't care. I remember back in the day and watching a couple of action-packed movies like martial arts movies and stuff, and I'm just kind of like, dude, like the action sucks. Like I'll watch like these TV shows, these syndicated shows and movies. They just did not care to train people back in those days. They all like whatever, just do it. And a lot of these people weren't like professionals in like martial arts and stuff or sword fighting. God, I still remember the older Highlander movie, the one that came out, I think, like in the 80s, and it was just like the dude couldn't even really fight with a sword like throughout the whole movie. It just looked pretty pathetic. But then towards the end, the sword fighting got better. Then for the television Highlander show, they actually brought in a choreographer and everything. So with these people now gone, now they brought in some new folks for the movie. Jonathan Kaplan was the new director. They replaced the female director with the male director. And so then they brought in a screenwriter to rewrite the entire script. And they tossed out like the old one. So Ken Friedman, he was brought in to rewrite like the script. Then they brought in Linda Erst to be the new producer and everything. And like with the rewrites, this was the more action-packed, more sexualized, like, version of like the movie. Because Drew Barrymore was 17 years old when she did this movie. And there's a topless scene with her that's supposed to show the disgusting behavior of the main bad guy, right? So he has her stripped down, but she kept on like her underwear things, whatever they called them back in those days, long johns or whatever underwear. Those long, short things women used to wear back in those days. But he made her take off her top and dress in front of him. Now, they never showed her topless in the movie, but they showed a lot of side boob and a lot of her back. And it's just like, dude, she was 17 years old. She wasn't even an adult at that time. And so when it comes to Linda, the producer, she said that Jonathan Kaplan, the director, she says that, he's very much like a feminist and everything. He's more of a feminist than she is and stuff. And that like he gets women. And she said that, when it comes to movies like this, women don't want to see women ride off into the sunset. They want to ride alongside men. And it's kind of like, huh, that's an interesting statement to say for like a female empowerment movie and stuff like that. But then later on, she went on to say that there was so many complications with the production of this movie. There was so much studio interference to the point where so many of the cast just did not enjoy themselves. One of the main actresses, I can't think of her name right now. Madeline Stowe. She liked the original script, and she said that there was so much like problems with like, the reshoots and rewrites and everything like that. Like the only thing enjoyable about that movie was her love, that she found out her love for Texas, because they filmed in Texas and she bought a house in Texas and everything. And it's just like, man, she didn't like nothing about this movie, which kind of explains something when I get into this later part in the video. And so like, now with like, a new producer and a new director and screenwriter and this and that, now they gave the women time to train. They shut down production and they gave them 3 weeks to like, train to do stuff and everything. Because there's a scene with Drew Barrymore where she's riding on the back of a horse and she jumps from her horse on the back of a stagecoach. And I'm just like, dude, she did that. And this is probably before the days of wire and CGI, which I do appreciate. So I'm so sick and tired of CGI. Like there's 2 whip scenes where they take a whip and they whip it around your neck and then they whip it around your waist. That was actually practical and stuff. Nowadays they use CGI whips. So 30 years later, like on the Drew Barrymore show, she got surprised by her co-stars. So all of them showed up except for Madeline Stowe. And everybody kept asking in the comment section, where is she? And nobody could answer that because nobody knows. I don't know how she feels about the cast, but like if she didn't have such a great time on like the movie and the only thing she liked about it was Texas, she probably didn't want to do no reunion. Or maybe she was busy with something else, who knows, But like, it was interesting to watch the reunion because of one main reason. Drew Barrymore and Dermot Maloney and everything. When she saw him, and I'm not even kidding, within 1 second, she burst into tears. And it looked like she was about to have a nervous breakdown because she was so thankful. She grabbed him, gave him the biggest hug. She started crying. And it's like she had a nervous breakdown. She literally said, you looked after me, you protected me doing this movie, and I will always be so grateful for that. Like, for some, 'cause he was 30 at that time and she was 17, and she literally kept saying over and over and over, you protected me and you looked after me. And it's just kind of like, what the heck happened on this set to where he had to protect her and everything and looked after her? She literally told her co-stars that, like, when she was 13, she had a nervous breakdown, like a midlife crisis and everything. And pretty much everybody knows about her drug past when she was like really young and really little and stuff. And she said at 17, while doing this movie, she was just buck wild and everything. She was just a wild child. And she literally said it was this movie that caused her to turn her life around, and she's never looked back since. Since then, she hasn't done anything crazy or outrageous or no drug related stuff. Like, this is literally the movie that saved her life. And that's a great thing because, when you hear about her drug addiction back in the day at a young age, it's like, it's heartbreaking and stuff. I remember, like, the first movie I ever saw her in was Scream. And everybody kept talking about Drew Barrymore's in this movie. She's going to be the lead and all this. I didn't know who she was. I just remember seeing her in the trailer for this movie. And I remember when she was on David Letterman, she hopped up on his desk and she flashed him and everything. And I'm just like, remember, like, man, how wild were you back in that day? But then it does make me wonder when she said he looked after her, like, it does make you wonder because this was back in the early 90s and she was very young and there was that topless scene. It makes me wonder, was old horny male Hollywood doing what they normally do? You know what I'm saying? And I hope not, but you just never know. Now, as for Drew's nude scene, like I said before, in the theatrical cut, it's not there. All you see is like a bit of the side, but not like the whole side, right? In the extended cut on the DVD, there are like two nude scenes, and you actually see Drew's like breasts. And keep in mind, she's only 17 years old at that time. That is so messed up, and that's how Hollywood was back in the day. So the movie is about these four women, these four former prostitutes and everything. And so basically the premise of the movie is like this. They're four prostitutes and they're at the saloon, and one of them is like getting attacked by a man, some colonel. So the one named Cody shoots him. Because of this, they're about to hang her. So the three other girls, they rescue her, preventing her from getting hanged. And because of that, there's now like a bounty on their head. So the Pillantine, I think that's what they call it, the Pillantine or something like that, detective agency are after them. So they're on the run and everything like that. While in the lake taking a bath, they meet that of like Dermot character, Josh. And so he tells them, there's a bounty out for y'all. Y'all need to like head on out of here. He's looking out for them. He just kind of appears out of nowhere and stuff like that. And so Cody, is like thankful for that. So as they hightail it on out of there, they rob a bank because they need money. It's only till then Cody finds her ex-boyfriend William, and he helps them like escape being arrested, but then he steals their money. And so pretty much after that, they just at some point head back to where William Place is at. They find out he wants a big like machine gun and everything. And like they have a history, but we don't know exactly to the extent. So, anyways, at some point in time, they end up robbing Williams' gang and stealing the big, like, machine gun that they stole from the army. Because of this, a lot of crazy stuff happens. And, like, oh, what's her name? Is it? What's Drew Barrymore's character's name? I can't think. Lily and everything. Her character gets kidnapped, and this is when the bad guys make her strip and do some other stuff like that. And so they're gonna make an exchange, Lily for like the father of like William or something like that. He has ties to that of Cody. He found her like on the street, and he made her into like a prostitute and stuff like that, and what she was. She later escaped all that, and then that's when she met the other girls. And so, like, Josh's character has heat with William's dad, and he decides to blow it by killing him. And so, because of that, the girls decide, okay, we gotta go rescue Lily. We have no leverage. Maybe we can trade the machine gun and stuff like that. So Josh decides he's gonna make it up to them by like rescuing Lily, but then he ends up getting kidnapped. And so after that, there's like, as they do the exchange and everything, the bad guy shoots Josh. And then like it's a huge like shootout and everything. And the bad guys end up dying. One of the girls fell in love with like a dude and she's gonna stay with him. So after that, the rest of the girls gonna go to the gold mine while trying to evade the detectives that want to bring them in. So for the most part, the cast consists of Drew Barrymore as Lily. She's the youngest of the group, and she's very headstrong and very stubborn. I was kind of wondering what they was going to do with her character because she's young and blonde. I thought they might make her into like the hopeless romantic or the dumb blonde. Thankfully, they did not. They just made her into like, the very stubborn, like, teen and everything. And so, of course, like I said, she ended up getting like captured and other stuff like that. Whenever like Cody wants to go somewhere, she wants to go with to help protect her. And Cody won't let her because of how young she is, but she's stubborn enough to do it anyways. Madeline Stowe or Stowe, she plays Cody. She is the one who kills the colonel, and she's the leader of the group. She's very headstrong, she's very stubborn, she's very go-get-you type person, and she's extremely tough. They give her a love interest in the form of Josh. He helped her when she got shot. He took her to like a healer and everything like that. And so she's the one who's pretty much, making all the rules and making sure the girl follows them, especially when they're on like the run and everything. It's only when she meets her ex that, things get very, very complicated. Andie MacDowell plays, I'm trying to think what her name is. Elaine, I think her name is. Um, they really didn't have much for her. She's the hopeless romantic. When they was robbing the bank and she got caught, like she flirted her way with like, with like this guy who got deputized and everything. And I thought she was just using him to get out, but it turns out she actually started having feelings for him and stuff. And so because of that, he doesn't care what she did and he lets her stay at his place, but he doesn't realize that like she's letting all like her friends live there too. That pisses him off, but he really does like her. And towards the end of the movie, her half of the share, they're gonna get married and this and that. The romance is very rushed. And I wish, they would have took more time to build it up because I really thought she was using him, but it's not. She's kind of just like the hopeless romantic. So that's really all they really had for her in like the movie. Mary Stuart Masterson plays that, I think Edith or something like that, or I can't remember her name. She's the only one who's really kind of like a blank slate. She pretty much goes throughout the entire movie not really doing much. She's nice, she's passive aggressive, and the only thing we know about her in the beginning of the movie is that like her husband is dead. She later tries to get like his money out the bank, but because he's dead, and then she can't do it because that's the way the law is. And there's a statement she makes talking about, before she was married, as a woman, she's nothing. And when her husband dead, apparently she's still nothing. And the law, like, how it sucks how they treat women. I bet you anything, this was part of the original script about how women are treated back in the West and how they're treated differently from men. I would have liked to have seen more from that and also more from her character and stuff. Dermot Maloney, he plays that of Josh. He's just some random guy who just strolls into town and everything. He's new into town, and he becomes like a love interest of that of Cody, but nothing really truly becomes of them because he dies at the end. And he takes a liking to Cody like very early on to protect her and let her know that the cops are looking for her. It's not explained why he's so nice to her and why he's into her and why he looks after her if she went and murdered a person and stuff. And I wish they would have explained that a bit more. And then they gave him the backstory of saying that, he has ties with William's father because William's father did something to his folks, or at least his dad. And so when William's father starts taunting him, that is when he kills him. And that's when he goes and rescues Lily. I would have liked to see the women rescue Lily since this is a female-led thing, but they had to give him something to do. I just wish they would have let the women rescue Lily and stuff. Now, as for the movie, like I said before, it's a good movie and it is very enjoyable. My problem with the movie is that it keeps going in so many directions. It feels more like an episodic television show than it does a movie because the pacing of the movie is extremely fast and it doesn't really slow down and it keeps going from one plot angle to like another and you don't have time to digest and figure out what the heck is going on. Like at first, it's about a bunch of prostitutes and one killed somebody and now they're running from the law. And so you think, okay, well, where is this going to go after that? Well, they need money and stuff. So they rob a bank of like all things, but it's kind of like, why would they rob a bank? Are they like outlaws? Are they nefarious? Do they have a criminal history? You don't really find nothing out about them until an hour into the movie and then towards the end. Pretty much. The only one who has somewhat of a criminal background is that of Cody because she used to hang out with this gang. Everybody else is just like normal people, but their fathers or husbands have like died and everything. And that's how they ended up in the streets and became prostitutes. This information would have been a whole lot useful in the beginning of the movie and not an hour and 30 something minutes in. And so like once it goes from there, it goes from Cody meeting her ex and he steals the money. So then you assume, okay, well, they're gonna get the money back somehow, but instead of doing that, they just end up robbing the bad guys after the bad guys robbed the army for that machine gun and everything. And so, like, I wish the script was more linear and took, just like one huge subplot and then went on from there instead of having like all this other stuff. Because it does make you wonder, like, besides that of Cody and maybe Lily, but for the most part, Cody, how did the other three girls learn to do what all they've done? Like, they're really good at horseback. They're good at making people escape from being hanging. They're really good at like using a gun and everything. They're really tough and rough, but besides Cody and Lily, the other two girls are like, typical girls from back in the day. So it's like, how the heck did they learn how to do all this stuff? And it would have been nice to like explain it or show it. Like there used to be a movie called Banditas with Penelope Cruz and Selma Hayek. I reviewed that many years ago. Go watch that. And so one's an aristocrat and the other one's just a poor farm girl. And so the poor farm girl, she has a little bit of experience with shooting, but not much. And the aristocrat knows how to ride horses. we see them train how to rob banks and how to shoot guns and how to do how to like ride horses and stuff like that, all throughout like a montage type thing in the movie. So it would have been nice if this movie would have done something very similar. But all in all, like I said before, it is a very good and very enjoyable movie. Now on DVD, there's an extended cut in the disc and everything. Happy Women's History Month, everybody. All right, well, I'll talk to you later. Bye.